Hey y'all, what's up? It's Ms. Warren here, and welcome back to Ms. Warren's class where we teach easier. Today, we're breaking down how to create an inclusive classroom from the start. Not just the idea of it, but the practical step-by-step stuff that you can actually do when school starts. Whether you're a gen ed teacher trying to support students with IEPs, a special ed teacher trying to make your push-in time count, or a brand new teacher trying to figure out how the heck am I supposed to do inclusion? What does that look like? I got you. So grab your notebook, grab your good notes, and let's get started. Let's be real. Inclusion is not just putting students in the same room. Inclusion is belonging, participation, and access. Ask yourself daily, does every student feel safe to participate in this space? Replace my EC kids or SPED or special ed kids with my students. Always. Start each week reviewing how each student will access the content, not just what they'll do. Post your class norms and inclusive expectations. Instead of raise your hand to speak, try choose how to share. Raise your hand or write it down. Scaffolding is how we include, not something we add in later. Visual directions, vocabularies, or timelines, offer sentence stems and writing frames, provide graphic organizers, scaffold writing with step-by-step checklists, break assignments into chunks, and offer one step at a time. For example, instead of a 5-paragraph essay due Friday, give them checkpoints: brainstorm Tuesday, outline Wednesday, intro Thursday, first paragraph Friday. If they can't access the task, they won't engage in the learning. And then for an example that is more primary, more younger kids than it is for like the high school example, if your task is the right three sentences and you have 7 minutes to do so, take 1 minute to brainstorm your ideas. Take 2 minutes to write down the top 3 ideas that you just brainstormed in a checklist, and then we're going to take the next 5 minutes to prepare your sentences. Make sure there are sentence frames, maybe a word bank depending on the assignment that's accessible to them. Not just that one particular student, accessible to the whole class. On your board where your schedule and your timers are, that breakdown should be up there. 7 minutes, like writing your sentences, 7 minutes. And then underneath the little breakdown, 1 minute brainstorm, 2 minute list ideas, 5 minutes create your sentences, sentence stems, sentence frames, word banks, all right there on the screen. Not just for the 1 or 2 students who need it. Not just for the 1 or 2 students who need it. For every student. So they can use the 7 minute or they can use the breakdown, whichever one is best for them. Does that make sense? Every tip, every trick, everything I'm spewing at you, please don't do it 15 times for 15 different students individually. That's not what I'm asking you to do. That's not what I do myself, and that's not what works for us as the teachers. We're teaching easier. Everyone gets the scaffolds, everyone gets the accommodation, everyone gets the tools. Every student can benefit, not just the students who have IEPs. Every student, y'all. Universal design means tools and support built for everyone, not just students with IEP. Some tools that you can implement that I use myself: classroom screen, timers, visual cues, and noise level tools, calming corners with visual and emotional charts and sensory times, visual schedules with icons for daily flow, task boxes for finished and unfinished work, choice boards for showing and for understanding. Set up a grab-and-go station with fidgets, break cards, writing supports, no asking required. When you normalize these supports, no one feels singled out. Guys, the no asking part in my opinion, it's very key, but it's also something you have to establish very quickly. You have to set your boundaries, and you have to have actions and consequences in place, and then you have to stick to that's not something that you can be flexible with along the way. Because if they're just going to get up, go to the box, pick a 3-minute card, put the 3-minute card in the slot, grab a fidget and sit in the calming corner, or the relaxing corner, or the relaxing space, whatever it is you call it, if they're going to go there and do that without asking, so that they're not interrupting the lesson that you're doing, and that we're building the skill of advocating for ourselves, then we're using some autonomy there, then we have to make sure they're using it appropriately. When they don't, there's an immediate consequence for that every single time, because it's a big thing, especially in the classroom space, for you to just get up and do something without asking me, right? That's a big thing. It takes a lot of trust. We have to worry about the distraction to the rest of the class, the chain reaction that happens. Oh, like you go to the bathroom, I need to go to the bathroom. I need to go to the bathroom. Oh, he's going to the common corner. I need a common corner. I need a break. I need a fidget. That routine has to be set in stone early, practiced often, and then every time something happens, the consequence needs to be fierce. Whether it's a positive consequence, excellent job for you using that properly. If you're leaving the common corner, you get a sticker for using this space properly, or whether it's a negative consequence. Guys, my mic is going in and out, so if the audio is going in and out, I apologize. Inclusion is a team sport. You do not have to do it alone. Create a shared doc or a shared folder for service providers to update, like speech, OT, and EC. Plan accommodations together, not reactively. Invite the paras or the TAs to do small group planning time. Make sure EC teachers have access to weekly lesson plans in advance. A bonus tip: if you're co-teaching, even for 15 minutes of guided practice, let EC staff teach whole group content too. Not just assistants, y'all. If you have a co-teacher in the room, co-teach with us. Co-teach with that co-teacher. I can do a whole video on the ups and downs, or the pros and cons, the pitfalls of co-teaching, and how I believe, based on my experience and based on the data, that we can do this appropriately. We can do this to benefit the students. However, if you have a co-teacher in the room, I know the feeling of, I'm the primary teacher, this is my classroom. I know it. I get it, y'all. I swear. But I also have been in a classroom, in a room with a very effective co-teacher, or TAs, or paraprofessionals, however you call them, who are very effective and very efficient. And having that other competent adult in the room, y'all, excellent. IEPs are not just, hold on, bruh. Okay. IEPs are legal documents, but also instructional tools. Read the full IEP, not just the accommodations page. Pull out the important information and paste them into a planning doc or your own trackers. Align small group tasks to the IEP goals, which should be aligned to the standards. Track progress using simple tools like tally sheets, Google Forms, or student reflection check-in type sheets. You can use my present levels or progress monitoring templates. I keep them in a binder and I update them weekly. I have them on the shop, but it's also something that I use in real life. Inclusion includes what students see. Include books with neurodivergent, disabled, and diverse characters. Add posters or visuals that reflect different abilities, AAC users, sensory tools, etc. Use diverse names and pronouns in word problems, scenarios, and examples. Avoid inspiration porn. Share stories of disabled people living, not just overcoming. Look around your room. What would every student see? Make sure that we have windows and mirrors, not just windows. The best inclusion tool is a solid routine. Creating clear morning procedures and transitions, using visual agendas every day on the board or on the screen. Model and practice expected behaviors. Don't assume students just know, because they don't. Set up a common corner or a reset spot with clear steps. Keep rules, visuals simple and consistent. Some of my favorite things: a cell phone hotel. Charge and go. No distractions, sitting right by my desk. Let students access and express learning their way. Give options to write, draw, record audio, any type of thing that can show their mastery. Sentence starters. Let students sit or stand, fidget, pace while working. Use I need cards for self-advocacy. Teacher phrases like I'm overwhelmed, or can I do this a different way? Can you repeat that with a visual? Inclusion equals empowerment. Now, y'all, every student can't just get up and start walking around, right? So, and it's very much so. I see him do it, and I'm going to do it too. I had a student one year who would like stand by his desk and he'd be doing all the stuff. He wouldn't be running back and forth or walking or leave the little box by his desk, right? But he'd be like tapping and he'd be doing the stuff, but he'd be raising his hand and he'd be reading aloud and he'd be writing notes. He's actively participating. Am I going to call him to sit down? No. You can stand if you're going to continue to actively participate. When you think about an inclusive room and you think about the routines and stuff that you have, yes, create it one time and everybody uses all the stuff, right? However, we are also individuals in this room. And why can he do this and you can't? Because I said so. Every student does not need to know everybody else's business in order to justify to that one student why they're able to do this and they can't. Maybe you need to do a replacement action. No, you're not going to stand up and fidget, because that's not what you need. You can sit down and I can stand right here, or I can circle around to you often and you're good. Or maybe you need to put a eraser toy on the top of your pencil and you're good. Make sure that you really know your students in your accommodations or whatever that you're using to tally, to keep track of your data. Right, this student can stand. This student needs a fidget. This student needs 3 break cards instead of 2. Write it down so that not only you post it somewhere under a QR code, post it somewhere so subs, admin, different people coming into the room, subs, admin, and different people coming into the room can really see, can scan, can see, can get a snapshot of your kids and what's happening. There's different stuff that you can do that makes our life easier, y'all. Teaching, period, is hard. Teaching a room full of kids who learn different ways, we have to teach the same content 50 different ways, is hard. Having to learn everybody's individual personalities. We need to be inclusive, but we also need to be following expectations. But there's only one of me and there's 30 of you. It's hard. How to make that easier are your routines. Your routines, guys. It's your routines. Data isn't for punishment. It's for progress and advocacy. Use goal checklist weekly. Build in quick self-assessments. I can do this. Yes, no, 1 through 5. Keep a folder for sample work by the goal area. Review progress with the students monthly or on a consistent basis. I have a goal bank and an IEP toolkit to match tasks to standard aligned objectives and actually track their growth. Another input here, guys. As a special education teacher who, when I'm in an inclusion type of role, and my data partly comes from me, depending on the present level, but mostly comes from the gen ed teacher, and you don't have any data to give me, I get you have 30 kids And it's hard. You don't have time to sit there and Jack did this, Jack did that. I get it. That's where our tools, our routines, all that stuff comes in easier. Because if you have a set morning routine every day, and one of Jack's goals is that he will follow directions, and you know that when he comes into the room, he does not look up at the board. He skips steps 2 and 3, and you have to redirect him every single day. That's a data point for me. Give me that information. There's something going on there that makes it so he doesn't follow that direction, but he follows other directions. Whatever, I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. But when you have quick checklists, you have yes, no's, you have data points that are efficient for you as a teacher and what you do in your classroom, but also assist me as a special education teacher who is not there all the time and rely on you heavily. So let's recap. If you're building an inclusive classroom, here's where you start. First, you shift your mindset. You scaffold the access. You use universal tools. You plan with your team. Make IEPs a part of the instruction. Represent every learner. Build consistent structure. Honor students and use data to support, not to punish. Remember, inclusion isn't a strategy, it's a commitment. And I know it seems like a lot of work, but it's not about being perfect, it's about being intentional. Tell me in the comments, what's one thing you're doing this year to make your classroom more inclusive? Hit me with your questions, your comments. Hit me with the, well, I got this one student, or I have 15 of the 35 students in my class are IEP students, and this is a lot. Guys, it goes back to my pre-planning video. I have a blog and a video on like pre-planning and what I do. But if you do the bulk of the work up front, you put your systems and everything in place, and I promise you, the rest of the year is going to have minimal bumps. It's not going to go smoothly. It's not going to be perfect. Come on, y'all. We're all teachers, right? But it's like you're gonna have minimal bumps because you have your routines and your things in place. We're not trying to overreach. We're not trying to. This is not a Pinterest perfect IEP class. This is not a Pinterest. This is not a Pinterest perfect inclusion class or gen ed class or whatever class. It's not, guys. I'm not trying to say do all the stuff and make your classroom have all these intricate. No. I'm throwing things at you. I need you to weave through, pick what works, and implement it for you, for the best. Having 15 kids with IEPs to implement is a lot. Having that in a class of 35 is a lot. But it being a lot doesn't take away the fact that we still need to do it. It doesn't. The stuff needs to happen. And so, how do we teach easier? Everybody gets the scaffolds. Everybody gets the differentiation. Everybody gets the accommodations. You take out your IEPs, you make your list so things are easier. And when you're developing the worksheets, the lessons, you're not printing out a different worksheet with 4 worksheets that have a word bank. No. Either every worksheet gets a word bank, or the word bank goes up on the board and every student has access to it. If some kids need an audio, then start making more digitally accessible worksheets. If you have kids who need chunking, stick the worksheet in a table. Each paragraph is in a different box. That's chunking. And then you go up to David's paper, and on David and Melissa, you write at the top, only do first 2 boxes. We just modified the assignment. There's a lot of things that we can do to make our classroom inclusive, follow the IEPs, but that also allows us to teach easier, because that's the most important part, guys, for us to teach easier. There's a lot of things in education that happen where people sole focus is on the kids, and you're like, hey, if I'm not okay, then none of this happens. I can't be burnt out, overwhelmed, and sick of it. Like, I matter too. And that's what I'm here for, guys. I'm here for you.